Hi. Okay, I think we are at 12 o'clock now, and I see there are 10 of us together. It might take a few more people, it might take a few more minutes for people to arrive and join us. I hope you're doing well. If you're here, it's likely that you're well, so that is good news. The class that I'm going to do with you now is going to be a gentle yoga class. I don't know if you've seen on our website, I have a gentle, super gentle class. That's for anybody can try that. It's really an in-bed yoga class, so it works really well for anyone who has experience or no experience at all. This one is a little more, it's gentle, but we will be moving, and I will be asking you to do things like you will do usually in the class. The only issue when doing a live feed class like this is that and the way we're setting up here in this YouTube studio is that I can't see you, so I cannot give you any extra instructions, or I can't take cues from you as students. So I will be asking you to do things and trusting that you will follow and listen to your own body and to your own breath and to know what is appropriate for you. So the first half hour of our practice this morning will be movement, a little bit of meditation, tuning in, checking in, and breath work. And then we'll do another bit of breathing, and then we will go into some yoga nidra practice. And I think that is necessary for us all more than ever. I know I tell you often in classes how yoga nidra is my anchor, is absolutely necessary for me to practice every single day. And I even more than ever, I've been practicing it. So I hope that you will get the benefits of it. Receiving it live like this is often more beneficial than listening to audio recordings, because even though we are not connected, I'm not with you in the same room, there is a sense of a community coming together to do something here and now. So I will be feeding off that energy that I'm sensing here and now. That is, these are people who need this practice from me right now at this moment. So I hope that you will receive that well. For the practice now, you might need a cushion just to prop up your head and make sure that it's comfortable, and you might need a blanket for some, and then also try and lock the door if you've a key. I don't have a key, so you might get 4 kids and 2 dogs and a husband coming in at any time during this, but I hope that they won't. They've been warned. So you a cushion and a blanket, if you have one, just to put over you for the yoga nidra. Make sure that you have warm enough clothes to layer on, and if you want to have some water there beside you as well, do. Okay, so let us begin. So we're going to come and lie down on our mat. I'm aiming for an hour, but you know me, it'll probably be an hour and 10 minutes, but we'll see how we go. Okay, we're going to come and lie down on our mat. So you can use a cushion if you like, and if you don't have a mat, it's okay. You might be lying down. You can have a blanket underneath you, or you can bring this into your bedroom and do it on your bed if you like. So we're going to lie down and make yourself as comfortable as you can lying down. You can have your head resting on a cushion or on a pillow. You might like to have your feet on the surface beneath you, hip width apart and knees bent. And just give yourself a moment here to receive this position for your body. Most of us, as we come into the starting position of our yoga practice, we need to engage with our breathing, particularly with the exhalation. So give yourself a few rounds of breath without forcing it, without overdoing it, without causing yourself stress or strain, to tune in to your breathing and focus on your exhalation. Your eyes are closed. You're trying to breathe in and out of the nostrils. You're trying to feel the abdomen rising big and full and round as you breathe in, like a balloon expanding. And as you breathe out, that balloon is flattening, emptying air. For the next few rounds of breath, see if you can make the exhalation a little longer, a little bit longer, but not to the point where you feel like you're gasping or finding this difficult. A little longer on the exhalation. Continue to breathe like this, but now we're going to move the focus to your physical body. So you might like to stretch out the legs. Continue to breathe in and out of the nostrils, stretching out the legs. You might like to take the hands away from the belly and give yourself a moment here to explore the physical body. Sense how the physical body is feeling as you bring it to stillness and steadiness. Notice if there are any areas of discomfort, any areas that feel tired, any areas that feel in pain, any injured areas in the body. And then notice the areas of the body that are feeling good, that are feeling strong and healthy and happy and well here and now. And we are just checking in. We are just acknowledging. We're saying, yes, I'm listening to you. I'm feeling you. I know how things are. That in itself is a valuable exercise in meditation. Listening, sensing, and truly, truly knowing how you are. And now with that information from your physical body, we're going to begin to move the physical body. So gently, gently rotating in the ankles, rotating in the wrists. You might like to wiggle the fingers and the toes, continue to breathe, keeping the mind focused on the movements and on the breaths. Ankles, fingers, toes, wrists, all moving together in your own comfortable way. You don't need to look at the screen. You can keep the eyes closed. Any way that you feel is working for you this morning. And then gently moving up into the knees, bending at the knees so the feet are coming back on the surface beneath you, and then stretching out as if walking on the spot or marching on the spot. Bending the knees, feet on the mat or on the ground beneath you, and then walking out. Bending and straightening. Continue to breathe, eyes can stay closed. And then resting either in the bent knee position or legs outstretched. And then the same at the elbows, just bending and straightening at the elbows, breathing into those elbows and see how they're doing this morning. Sometimes we can do that sensory exercise, sense everything as well as we're in stillness. And then when we begin to move, we start to creak and feel a little bit stiffer or tighter and go, trying to figure it all out for yourself. So breathing into it, into the elbows, and then we're working from the elbows and from the knees into the hips and into the shoulders. So see what movements you can make for the shoulders in this position as you're lying down. If lying down doesn't feel right, you might like to sit up. Circling the shoulders, rounding the shoulders, lifting the shoulders up to the ears, releasing them down, squeezing the armpits, rolling the shoulder blades forward and pulling them back, and then working into the hips. So for the hip action, if you're lying on your back, maybe holding onto your knees and circling the knees around, rolling out and in, just feeling some movement in the hips, or you can just begin to work one knee forward and one knee back, flexing and extending through the hips. You're not getting a huge range of motion here on your back. Opening and closing in the knees, breathing all the time. And then gently, gently taking your time to take your left arm over your head and rolling onto your left side for a moment. You can keep your pillow underneath your head and rest there, breathing in and out, closing the eyes. Good. Pressing down into your front hand, take your time looking down towards the ground and slowly, 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 slowly easing yourself up to sitting, and then bringing ourselves onto all fours. So from that, after the checking in exercise that we've done, we've worked into the feet, into the toes, into the fingers, into the hands, into the wrists, into the elbows, the shoulders, the knees, and the hips. Now we're going to work on the spine in this upright all fours position. So taking your hands onto the surface beneath you, working your knees underneath your hips. I'll turn sideways so you can see a little better. Most of you know these exercises if you're regular students. Taking the hands down, and let's grip our toes behind. And then we're going through the extension and flexion of the spine. We're going through the angry cat and happy cat spinal movements. Take your time, maybe close your eyes and allow yourself to explore and enjoy these movements. Sense, if you haven't been moving for the last weeks or so, sense what these movements are doing for your spine. Sense how it is. Sense if there is some stiffness and tightness in the spine, working all the way from the neck and the head down to the pelvis and the hips. Working through the shoulders, through the rib cage, through the front of the chest. Breathing as you do it, in and out of the nostrils. And then see now if you can become a little more fluid with these movements. So you might like to begin to circle around, working into the sides of the ribs a little more. You can still work through angry cat and happy cat, but adding a little circling action or a twisting action or a diagonal action. You can track up and down your mat. You can work side to side on your mat, and you can circle around. Just enjoy. No one is watching you. This is the beauty of this practice. So enjoy these movements and try to figure it out for yourself. There really are no mistakes in this practice as long as you're not hurting yourself. So if anything feels painful, that's a mistake. So you pull back. If it's too much on the wrists, you work down onto the forearms. If it's too much on the knees, you can place a blanket or a cushion underneath your knees. Continue to move and breathe. And then taking your time to slowly release the toes onto the surface beneath you and just give them a little pat, a little wake up. How are you doing back there, toes and feet? Well done, release them. And then slowly we're going to take the knees about mat width apart if this is comfortable. And some of you are happy to fly back into child's pose, but some of you might just need a little extra support. You might like to work the elbows onto the ground, or take a pillow or a cushion if you have it, and you can just place it on top of the calves and sit your bottom, your hips right back into that cushion. You might need a few cushions. Don't cause yourself stress or strain through the thighs or the knees. Just going as far as feels comfortable. Well done. And breathe in and out of the nostrils. Now, you might know at this stage of your practice if your monitor is in the wrong place. So if you need to move your monitor, do. I don't want you to end up at the end of this practice with a sore neck from twisting your neck to look. Of course, as always, I try to make my instructions as clear as I possibly can, so you don't even need to look at the monitor. Continue to breathe. This should be a resting pose, child's pose. Releasing and lengthening through the spine, getting a nice lengthening through the fronts of the thighs, onto the tops of the feet. And if you can, maybe stretching the arms a little further ahead of you, crawling the fingers further. At the same time, pulling the sit bones back towards the heels. Continue to breathe. And then pushing into your hands, slowly move your head to look forward, only to the point where you don't feel there's any squashing in the neck. So you're pushing into your hands and keeping your shoulders away from your ears. You might need to bend your elbows. And then gently work your chin in towards your collarbones. Continue to breathe. Move your head to look forward. Keep your shoulders dropping, push into your mat. Move your chin in towards your collarbones. And again, move your head to look forward. And this time, rather than going to the extreme point of chin into collarbones, just moving the head so you can look down towards the ground there. Well done. Slowly hover the shoulders, lifting the hips away from the heels. Hover the shoulders forward over the wrists again, and you might need to remove the cushions. Well done. And from here, we're going to take all of your weight onto your right hand, onto your right knee, and see if you can step your left foot as far forward as feels comfortable. Now, some of you are going to need a little help here, taking your left hand, holding on behind your thigh or your knee. Well done. And then we're going to slowly take our time to bring our weight up into this one-legged lunge. Now, you'll know from here if it's too much pressure on the right knee, and if so, taking your cushion or your blanket and placing it under that right knee for extra support. Well done. Then we're going to push the hands out in front of us as if you're holding a train from coming towards you. I'm going to turn sideways. I think it's a nicer angle for you. Pushing that train. So in this, we're doing the angry cat shape of spine. So you're pushing the palms forward, the upper spine back, and you're going to get a nice length and stretch through the front of the right thigh and that inner groin, that hip flexor. Well done. Then pushing the hands down towards the ground. Now we push the hands back behind us and feel like the shoulder blades are coming together and the thumbs are coming together. Breathing there. Try not to twist your neck. Push the hands down towards the ground. Bend your elbows, take your fingernails towards your shoulders, and then push your hands out to the side wall. So pushing in either direction, right and left. Take your time. If you know these moves, don't rush through them. We're going to have a little polishing action for the shoulders now. So we're rolling, keeping the flexion through the wrists, so fingernails pushing down towards the ground. And then slowly, slowly rolling the hands in the way and then all the way out. So you can feel the inside of the arm, the inside crease of the elbow pointing up towards the ceiling, and then the opposite action, the wrinkly part of the elbow is coming up towards the ceiling. See how far you can go. If it's too much, just keep the fingers nice and soft and the elbows soft and just working as much as you like, or you can just have fingers on the shoulders for just a little movement. That might be enough. Well done. Then from here, we're going to raise both hands up towards the ceiling and see how this feels. Reaching up as high as you can. Often I'll tell you to reach up to the highest shelf. It's something really important up there and you want to hang on to it. Well done. So your shoulder blades are lifting up your spine. Up, 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 up. They're not falling down. Try to straighten the elbows and continue to breathe. Good. Now we're going to keep the right hand where it is and let the left hand just drop down towards the ground here, breathing happily. You're going to have a nice lengthening through the right side in the body as you work your left hand down towards the ground. We're trying not to squat, we're trying not to twist. I'm moving around just so that you can see different angles. Well done. Slowly lifting your left hand up towards the ceiling. And then we're going to take that left hand and swing it back behind us and reach the right hand out in front of us. Well done. See from here if you can twist your belly, your chest and your shoulders a little further to the left. Breathing happily there. Well done. We're going to take a new move out of this position now. Take your back hand, your left hand, and swing it all the way down towards the ground, and then swing it all the way in front of you. Breathing there. Give the fingers a little wiggle. Rotate the wrists here. Interlock your fingers. Bend the elbows and push those palms forward. Again, we're working on that rounding in the spine. Well done. Good. From that roundedness in the spine now, you're going to push the palms forward as far as you can. Let the shoulders go with you and take your belly onto your thigh and then dropping your head a little so that your ears and your upper arms are in line. Breathe there. Now, some of you are going to feel really excited by this and have done it many times. And if you have, I'm not going to demonstrate it, you might like to lift your knee. So breathe happily there. You can lower the knee now. Slowly take your hands to the ground. You might need to get the foot out of the way a little bit. And then we're going to see if you can turn the front toes out a little. You're going to try to bend your elbows and slowly, slowly, slowly drop your chest and your head down towards the mat. We're going to hang out here for a moment. This is a strong pose, okay? This is a gentle class, but this is a strong pose, so take it easy. If it's too much, you're coming up, you can just hang out with your elbow on your thigh here. Take a few breaths for yourself. Well done. Stay looking down, and we slowly straighten the elbows, turn the front toes in, hands to the ground, and step that front foot back to meet the back foot, and then have a little wiggle from side to side. So in our yoga classes, we have blocks that we use to place to bring the ground higher to the hands, and we can make it a lot easier for ourselves. If at home you're finding this too much to take the hands on the ground, you can take two thick books and just place them there like blocks for yourself. Okay, all the way down to the left hand on the left knee and stepping the right foot forward. Backs of hands together and raising the arms up above the head. And again, you'll know if you need to adjust the blanket and put it underneath the left knee. Thumbs towards the heart. Breathe now as we push the hands forward and round the spine, that angry cat shape of spine. Push the hands down, opening up the chest, shoulder blades coming together, thumbs coming towards each other. Push the hands to the ground, bend the elbows, fingernails to shoulder, lift the elbows up and push out into the side walls. Good. Sweep the hands in front this time. Raise them up above the head. Good. Now reach up, separate the hands, reach up to that highest shelf, shoulder blades lifting up, front ribs are in, neck is long, chin is in, breathe. And then we drop the right hand this time, squeezing that right armpit, lifting the left fingers up a little higher, the left shoulder blade a little higher, breathing happily there. Feel that left side of the body nicely, nicely opened. Breathe. Lift the lower hand up to meet the upper hand. And then we take that right hand and swing it back behind us, the left hand in front so that you're in a twist. So it's opposite arm in front of leg. And then twist the belly, chest and shoulders to the right. Shoulders are down. Beautiful. Breathe. So if it's your right leg in front, it's your left hand in front. If it's the left leg in front, right hand in front. So opposite arm to leg. Twist a little further. Continue to breathe. As before, we're dropping the back arm, the right arm, swing it down. You can follow the hand with your eyes and with your head. Swing it all the way in front. Raise the arms up above the head, breathing happily here. Hands come together, thumbs towards the heart. Interlock the fingers, push the hands forward, and then track forward again, belly to thigh. Pause there. It's nice to get some fluid movements in this time when we're stuck in our houses. Hands to the ground, breathe there, and then we'll see if we can walk the front toes out to the right. I'm changing my angle so you can see toes are out. Good. And bending the elbows and lowering the head down, breathing there. Again, if you want to lift the back knee off the mat, you can, but that's really intense. Breathe through it. 2 more breaths. Pushing down into the fingers, stay looking down, straighten the elbows, turn the front toes in, and then we're going to place both hands on the ground, or if it's all too much, you're coming back up, taking a little rest here, and then see if you can reach the ground, step the front foot back to meet the back foot. Have a little wiggle of the hips here from side to side, breathing in and out, maybe a little circle. And on an exhale, reaching back into that child's pose position. So hips back to heels, head down. Remember, if you need your cushion, taking your cushion. Well done. You can bend your elbows. Two more breaths here in this child's pose position. And then taking your time to walk your hands back towards your knees, looking down towards the ground as you do this so that you're in a kneeling position. Take 2 breaths here. Now, if it's too much, you might need to come up into a high kneeling position. That's fine. And then ever so slowly, we're going to bring ourselves to sitting. So you can either take your hands to the ground first, feet out to one side and walking the hips back, or from the kneeling position, you can just swivel out to one side, feet to one side, hips to the other. Well done. So in your seated position, you can take a little cushion behind your, underneath your sit bones there. And we're going to start with the Baddha Konasana, soles of feet together, knees wide. So into a comfortable butterfly position for yourself. Just thinking about your posture here. So I often try to give you some imagery to feel supported with that imagery. So imagine there's an elastic band between your pubic bones, your belly button, your sternum, and your collarbones. And you want to lengthen that elastic band in opposite directions. There's another elastic band, and it's working from your tailbone all the way up your spine into the back of to the base of your skull. So the base of your skull lifts up towards the ceiling. It's lengthened up with that elastic band so that your chin tucks in a little. Your back of your head pushes back to the wall behind you. And that elastic band at the back of the body is pulling you up and down in both directions. The elastic band from the base of the skull somehow magically works through the inside of the skull and then comes right up through the crown of the head and lifts you up towards the ceiling from the crown of the head. So trying to sense this lengthening action in your Baddha Konasana. And then we're gently just going to flutter those wings in and out and try to feel the hips opening a little bit. Well done. So remember those elastic bands. Well done. Opening and closing, breathing in and out. Have a little smile to yourself. Allow the shoulders to drop. Well done. Then coming into a comfortable position in this Baddha Konasana, a position that you can hold, holding onto the shins or onto the feet. And we're just going to work into the neck a little more, into the sides of the neck. So left ear to left shoulder, breathing there. Trying to drop the right shoulder and squeeze the right armpit. Without twisting the nose, trying to keep the head in a good plane there. Back to the center. And then right ear to right shoulder, squeezing the armpits, keeping the elbows down. Try not to twist the head at all. Back to the center. And then a full twist of the head on that axis, all the way to the right, as if you're looking for traffic. Back to the center, and then all the way to the left. Keep both shoulder blades pulling slightly towards each other, the front of the shoulders pulling back. And slowly back to the center. Well done. From here, we're going to see if you can take your elbows into the inner thigh and inner calf there, and see if you can move yourself forward a little bit. Just be careful of the neck in this position. It's best really to tuck the chin in and breathe. Try not to allow the head to fall forward. Push your back ribs towards the ceiling. One more breath. If you want to go a little further, do. Continue to breathe. Stay looking down as you slowly come back up. So lifting up from the back ribs, from between the shoulder blades. Good. When the shoulders come over the hips, slowly lifting the head up. Take a breath in and a breath out. From here, we're going to keep the right knee where it is and see if you can step the left foot out to the left just a little. So knee is bent, foot is on the mat. And we're going to breathe here. If it feels okay, you might like to look to the right and just have a little twist to the right here, breathing happily. Well done. If that feels okay, you might like to lift the right hand up towards the ceiling. Now this can be a little strong for you because you're having the openness through the right hip as well. Breathe into it. Feel the whole of the right side of the body opening. For those that feel really happy and comfortable, you might like to extend open that right leg a little bit. I know some of you in the class like this variation. Well done. Plant your right sit bone down into the ground. Slowly reaching up with the right hand. If you've extended the right leg, bring it back to center. And slowly release that right hand down. Walking the left foot in to meet the right. Pause for a moment. You might need a little rock around, a little wiggle. And then we try taking the right foot onto the mat. Knee stays bent. You can see if it's possible to keep the right elbow dropping down to the inside of the right knee. And then we see if it feels okay, you might like to lift the left hand up and breathe there. A little bit of an opening to the left, maybe twisting the head and the chest a little. Good, breathe there. If it feels okay, maybe stretching out in that left leg, only for those that feel happy with this. Good, and you know there's deeper variations for those that are okay with that. Slowly lifting the left hand up towards the ceiling. Well done, bending that left elbow. This time walking the left foot in so that both knees are bent, both feet are on the mat. And then we're going to take the palms together, as if clapping them, and elbows work to the inside of the knees. So this is the variation of squat. This is really helpful for our pelvis to get ourselves nice and healthy in the pelvic floor and in the pelvis. So pushing down with the shoulders, neck is nice and long. Try to feel like the inner thighs and knees are pushing into the elbows, and at the same time the elbows are pushing out, but don't let the knees fall out. So it's just that resisting action of pushing in with the knees, pushing out with the elbows, and you'll feel it working through the inner thighs right up into the groin. Neck is long, chin is in, and breathe. No tension in the sides of the neck. 2, keep pressing, keep pushing. At the same time, finding that balance between the press and the pull, press and the push. Continue to breathe, 1 more round. And then ever so gently letting the knees fall out a little bit, extending the legs out in front of you. Have a little sway or a rock from side to side, massaging in your glutes, in your buttocks. If you wish, you can allow this movement to become a little wilder, lifting one hand up and rolling over. Make sure that it's enjoyable. You feel like you're massaging the muscles of the buttocks, rolling over those fibers of muscles. And some of you might be working down onto your elbows. Well done, breathing as you do it. 2 more. Super. Enjoy it. And coming back to the center. Okay, final movement before we come into lying on our backs for another pose, and then we're going into our closing down. So feet at least hip width apart. You might like to, at least mat width apart. You might like to go wider if that's accessible to you. Don't do it if you feel it pulling through the backs of the knees or backs of the thighs. Bend the knees as much as you possibly need to for this. This is not about pulling the backs of the legs. This is about getting some movement through the pelvis and through the spine and through the ribs. It's not about pulling the backs of the legs until you have that mobility there in your back. So we're interlocking the fingers. We're pushing the hands forward and we're going for a little rolling action forward and back, and breathing as we do it. Have a little smile for yourself as you roll along a river, breathing in and out. Feel how, again, you're working into the pelvis is tilting forward and back, you're working over the fibers of muscles in your buttocks. Well done. Slowly coming back, you're working on your abdominals as you come back. Well done, make sure you're not causing any tension in your neck or in your shoulders. And then reaching as far forward as you can, bending the knees as much as you need to, or stretching out if you like. And then we're going to begin to circle around. See how that goes. Circling around, breathing into it. Clockwise to start. How large can you make this circle? How far can you move into the backs of the thighs, into the buttocks? How much movement can you get comfortably and safely into the spine? And then some of you might enjoy, we've done this in classes, lifting the arms up and over, a nice windmilling action, only if it feels good. And then we come to the opposite direction, start with the smaller circles, work it a little bit wider, breathing as you go through. And then you might like to add in the windmills up and down. Good. Enjoy the movements up and down. You might need to rotate the palms. Continue to breathe. Last one. Good. Releasing the hands down onto the mat or onto the ground. You can press into the palms. You might like to work down onto the elbows a little bit. You keep that bend in your knees unless you know that you have that length in your back and in the backs of the legs. And if you wish to go a little further, go a little further. Again, nobody is watching you. You might like to place the head on a cushion. Shoulders are dropping, no strain in the neck. Try to keep the toes pointing up towards the ceiling, the knees and the shins and the thighs all pointing up to the ceiling. They're not rolling in. Breathe into this. Last one. Stay looking down. Slowly, slowly press into your hands. Stay looking down. No rush here. Gently pad your hands back in towards your thighs. Stay looking down. Rotate the ankles if you can, or just wiggle the toes if that's enough. Keep the shoulders dropping. And then nice and gently working the hands to the outside of the thighs. You can bend the knees, walking the feet in. Good. Allow the knees to slowly, slowly sway right and left. Feel how that is. And then we're going to come to lying down. We're just going to take an internal rotation of the hips now to come into recovery after those exercises that we've just done. If you need your little cushion, it's a thin cushion behind your head, take it now. Bending the knees, feet are on the mat, and then walk the feet mat width apart and let your knees fall together. So resting inwardly with those knees. Try to think about your lower back now and see if you can get your sit bones to gently work towards your heels, towards the front of your mat. The back ribs are pushing down onto the mat. The neck is nice and long. The shoulders are dropping down away from your ears. And you're breathing into your belly. Have a little feel of your front ribs and make sure that they're not sticking out. Trying to pull them in. You might need to tilt the pelvis to do this. Resting here for 2 more breaths. And then begin to walk both feet together. So knees stay together, feet begin to crawl together, pausing there. And then gently taking one foot at a time off the mat so that both thighs come in towards your belly. You're going to hold on to your knees, just finger pads or palms on the knees. You don't have to hold on to the shins. And then we just let the thighs come closely towards your belly as you breathe out. And then as you breathe in, pushing your belly into your thighs, pushing those thighs away. So straight arms. Then bending the elbows, working the thighs in towards your belly. And then pushing the belly out, big belly, pushes the thighs away and arms straighten. Trying this 2 more times. If you can connect with the breath and the movement together, do. And if not, don't worry about it. Just continue to breathe, bending the elbows, pulling the thighs towards you, straightening the elbows, pushing the thighs away. And now on your next, pushing the thighs away move, stay there. Release the hands and see if you can reach them towards your feet. Continue to breathe there. Then see if you can take your toe tips to rest on the mat. And if this feels like too much, don't forget about it. Breathe, reaching the hands forward. Breathe, breathe, breathe. So we're working into the abdominal muscles without even lifting the head or the shoulders. We're reaching forward. We continue to breathe in and out of that belly. Well done. And then slowly lifting the feet up one at a time, hugging the thighs right into the belly, and then gently lifting the head up as if you're going to give your knees a kiss, going as far as you comfortably can, but keeping those shoulders down. And then crossing the ankles, and you might like to kick your feet forward to bring yourself back up to sitting, or roll over onto your side, push into your front hand, and slowly, slowly, slowly bring yourself up to sitting. Continue to breathe in and out. Well done. Good. So I hope your spine feels well after that. You're going to feel a little more movement through your hips as well, a little more flexibility through the hips and through the thighs also. Let us move to the next stage of the practice together. So you're going to come back into a sitting position. You can sit against a wall if you like. We're only going to take 5 minutes of breath work. Sit up onto a cushion, move back against a wall if you need it. You can cross the ankles or soles of feet on the mat, thighs resting on the knees is a good option too. Well done. Closing the eyes and lengthen through or stretch through those elastic bands. So pubic bones pressing down into the ground, tailbone and sit bones pressing down into the ground, lengthening up through the belly button, through the sternum, through the collarbones, lengthening up through the base of the skull. The chin is tucking in, the crown of the head is lifting up, and you're feeling that pulling action in both directions, up towards the ceiling and down towards the ground, towards the sky and towards the earth. Closing the eyes and connecting with your breathing. Again, in through the nose, a big belly. Out through the nose, a relaxed belly. We're trying to get the diaphragm to move freely and well. That's why we give that focus of the belly. Your breath isn't breathing down in your belly, of course, but we're trying to get that action of the muscle of the diaphragm moving down to push into that abdominal distension on the inhalation and abdominal relaxation on the exhalation. Count 5 breaths here now, and we're going to begin counting at 5 and work our way down to 1. So you're going to inhale, exhale, that's 5. In your own rhythm, in your own time. Inhale, exhale, 4. Inhale, exhale, 3, 2, and 1 in your rhythm. Trying to stay as still as you possibly can, as focused as you can on this counting down. If you lose count, begin again at 5. And if you make it down to 1, begin again at 5. So there's no rush or fuss. And wherever you are in your counting, come to a full exhalation whenever you can, letting go of the numbers. And then ever so gently, allowing the eyelids to open, but without looking upwards, without looking at your monitor, just keeping your focus inwards towards your heart center. An open eye meditation, so knowing that there is light, there are distractions around you, but you can stay focused within these distractions. Focusing on your breath. You don't need to overbreathe. You are a natural rhythm of breath. Soften in the forehead. in the eyes, in the cheeks and jaws, in the neck, throat and shoulders. And from this space, you might like to lift the eyes up a little higher, the gaze a little higher, and then prepare yourself for Yoga Nidra, using as many pillows or cushions as you possibly can to support yourself, making sure that the head isn't lifting too high above the shoulders so that the neck isn't in any strain. You can lie on your back. You might like cushions underneath your knees. You might like a blanket over your body. You might like to hop into bed with your monitor now. You can do that if you're free to do so in your household. You might like a little scarf over your eyes. And so we begin this Yoga Nidra practice, settling into the most comfortable position that you can afford for yourself at this time in the space as it allows you. Are there any final adjustments that you need to make? If so, making them now. Knowing that in this Yoga Nidra practice, the body is to be as comfortable as you can possibly make it so that there are no physical distractions. Once you have settled into a comfortable position, there should be no need to move. No need to move. Nidra means sleep. This is the yoga of sleep. The body is held and supported so comfortably that it can sleep. But the mind stays awake. The mind is alert to the instructions that you are receiving, but there is no need for any effort. Listening is even with effort, so you don't even need to listen. Knowing that my voice is with you, that I am tuning in and supporting each of you that have joined me today, that I am here to guide you, to support you. That is enough. This Yoga Nidra practice is a protective Nidra practice, especially formulated to hold you and to steady you in this time of unrest and stress. This is a time of unknown in our lives, in our communities, in our world. The practice of Yoga Nidra allows us to practice steadiness, practice containment, and to feel guided, supported, and held physically, mentally, emotionally, energetically. So finding your breath, and give yourself permission on your exhalation. You might like to breathe out through the mouth for a few rounds, to let go with a sigh or a long exhalation through the nose of anything that you have been holding on to for these last few days that you know is there and you know that you can release here and now. So letting go with a sigh or with a long exhalation through the nose, and you can do a few rounds of these. You might like to vocalize. And feel with those exhalations an unraveling, a peeling off of layers of discomfort, of despair, of irritation, of annoyance, of stress, of strain. Peeling off, unraveling, releasing, and trusting that here and now within this Yoga Nidra practice, you give yourself permission to feel supported, Really, that is all that we need to do. Give ourselves permission to receive support. That support can come from yourself beyond this yoga nidra practice. It can come from those that are around you, that are providing support in your household, providing support by phone or online. But you are open now to the possibility, the opportunity of receiving support that is needed, that is necessary for you at this time. A few more rounds of exhalation through the nose or mouth, unraveling, releasing, and letting go, and sinking into the physical possibility of being supported even further and even more right here and now, and sinking into the possibility of being emotionally supported, spiritually supported, energetically supported, and held at this time. Move your awareness to the center of your chest, to your heart space. There's no need to move physically, just the mind focusing on the heart center. At your heart center, allow an affirmation to rise, a statement of positivity, and allow this statement of positivity to provide support, healing, nourishment to you at this time. I am feeling safe and secure in my world. Might be an example that you can borrow for today. And repeat your affirmation and repeat it. And then burrowing that affirmation as if it's a seed deeply into your heart center, as if you are burrowing a seedling into fertile soil that will nourish this seedling to grow. And this seedling will grow and blossom into your truths, into your reality in your daily life. This is your truth. Now moving your awareness once again to the physical body. Your physical body is supported and held in this position. You are providing this support to your physical body, and you are giving yourself permission to release and soften, to let go of holding, let go of negativity here and now. Allow your awareness to move to the crown of your head. And at the crown of your head, imagine a golden, warm light. This golden, warm light gently begins to seep through the crown of your head into your skull and brain. This warm, glowing light begins to fluidly travel around all the folds and layers of your brain, providing nourishment, providing healing light and energy to your brain. This golden glowing light begins to travel behind the forehead in front of the brain, behind the third eye space between the eyebrows, travels down through the backs of the eyes, through the backs of the cheeks, around the sinuses, into the ear canals. This golden warm light begins to travel behind the lips, inside the cheeks, inside the mouth, into the throat, behind the collarbones, inside the shoulders, travels down inside the upper arms, a liquidy golden glowing light, down through the elbows, right and left, down into the wrists, flowing like a river of golden glowing light into little tributaries out into the thumbs, into the index fingers, into the middle fingers, the fourth fingers, the baby fingers, inside the palms of the hands, around the bones of the fingers and the hands, and back up through the arms as if moving through the veins in the arms, through the muscles, through the bones, through the tendons, all the way up into the shoulders, back to the throat, and down, down through the inside of the rib cage, to each of the bones of the rib cage and the muscles of the rib cage at the fronts, at the sides of the ribs, at the backs of the ribs, inside the rib cage, flowing in and around those organs inside the rib cage, up and down the windpipe, up and down the heart, through the lungs, all of the little tributaries around the lungs and the lung sacs, all around the lungs, flowing beautifully in and around the lungs. That golden, warm, healing light providing nourishment and strength and support to the lungs and to the heart, and down into the diaphragm, into the stomach and the spleen and the pancreas, out into the kidneys, into the intestines, large and small, all the way down into the bladder, right down into the base of the pelvis, that bucket of the pelvis, holding this golden, glowing, warm light that's traveling up and down through all of the internal organs in the torso, right down to the base of the pelvic floor, and out from the pelvis into the hips, flowing around the hips, the bones of the hips, the muscles of the hips, the tendons, and then flowing down the right and the left leg from the inside through the muscles, the bones, the tendons, the veins in the inside of the legs, down to the knees and around the knees, the cartilage of the knees, and right down into the lower legs, the shins and the calves, into the ankles, through the feet and flowing out through the feet, again little tributaries of glowing warm light into the big toes, the second toes, the third toes, the fourth toes, the baby toes, and then flowing back upwards through the legs, through the shins, the calves, the knees, the thighs, the hips, the buttocks, all the way back up through the torso, right up into the shoulders and the arms, up through the throat and neck, all around the face, the head, the skull, the brain, and back up to the crown of the head. The crown of the head, that glowing, warm ball of light that is unlimited in its fluidity, continuously flowing down through the head, the face, the shoulders, the torso, the pelvis, the legs to the feet, and all the way back up again. This fluid movement with warmth and light and energy that's healing and nourishing the inside of the body, the whole of the inside workings of the body, glowing, lubricated, nourished, and flowing with healing cellular activity that is nourished with this energy. The whole of the body healthily moving from the inside. And this glowing warmth and light begins to travel now through the layers of the inside of the body, through the layers of muscle and fat and skin, to gently rest as a glowing warmth and light on the skin, so that from the outside and the inside of the body, it is supported in this glow of nourishment. Sensing this warmth and light and energy. Now sensing that as you breathe in, this warm glowing light begins to gently expand and hover above the skin, so that the whole body is filled and held in a bubble or an orb of golden, glowing, healing nourishment. The whole body is held in this golden orb. Tune into your breathing and sense that as you breathe in this golden orb, this bubble of light and nourishment begins to get wider, creating more space for you to open, to feel supported, to trust that you are held, that you are safe. Opening up to the possibility as you breathe in of being more supported, more held. And as you breathe out, allow this protective bubble or orb of golden glowing light to gently, gently, gently lower back down onto the skin. And as this golden orb of warmth and light and nourishment gently settles back on the skin, you can allow yourself to release a little further into that knowledge that you have given yourself permission to receive this support, this nourishment here and now. You can continue on a few more rounds of this visualization of breathing in to opening up to greater possibilities of strength, of healing, of openness into that support that is provided for you. And on the exhalation, settling into it, allowing yourself to comfortably receive these nourishments as they are given to you. On your next exhalation, sensing this golden healing orb of warmth and light and energy gently settling on the skin, moving deeper through the layers of the skin into the muscle and bone, into the veins, into each cell of the body, and eventually settling at the space of the heart, at your heart center, recalling your affirmation that you made at the beginning of this Yoga Nidra practice. And repeat it, and repeat it. Finding your breath once again and breathing into that affirmation, breathing into your body, sensing your own rhythm of breath as it moves in and out of the body, as you inhale and exhale, as you fill up and release. And then sensing the physical body here and now in the position that you have provided for yourself, in the supports that you are receiving beneath the body, in the ground that is supporting you, in the earth beneath that ground. Sensing how it is to receive support here and now physically. How is it? How do you feel in the physical body as you are supported? And then acknowledging that you have come to the end of your Yoga Nidra practice and sensing how that is for you without letting the mind run away, just really tuning into the sensations of here and now before you begin to move. And then taking a long exhalation out through the nose or the mouth. A longer inhalation now, as long as you can, filling up through the rib cage, up into the chest, up into the collarbones, and softly out through the mouth. Allow the vocal cords to come into it. Again, in through the nose as long as you can, big, full and round, moving up into the chest, up into the collarbones. And out with a sigh, or vocalizing, a moan or a yawn or a groan, whatever you need to do. A yawn can be really good. And then taking your time to maybe open the eyes, just seeing how you are. Some of you might like to fall back to sleep. That can be perfectly fine if your environment allows you to. And for the rest of you, taking your time to bring movement into the fingers, into the toes, into the wrists, into the ankles, to the knees, the shoulders. Then working up into the hips and into the spine. Hugging the thighs into your belly, rolling over onto your left side or your right side. And then pressing down into your front hand and taking your time to slowly, slowly, slowly bring yourself up to sitting. Taking your time. And once you've come back up to a seated position, either against the wall or using a cushion under your hips, pausing for a moment, acknowledging yourself physically. How's your body feeling after that practice? Acknowledging how you are doing energetically, emotionally, mentally. No questioning or editing, just noticing, listening, feeling how you are truly. And then we conclude our practice with our Chandra Namaskar, fingertips touching. Take your thumb and index finger together. Rotate in the wrist, the elbow, the shoulder. Allow the spine to roll a little. Backs of hands together. Gently raising the arms up above your head, reaching upwards towards the skies. Opening the arms as wide as you can and lifting up in the chest and the heart, and allow the skies to rain down upon you with abundance, everything that is absolutely needed to support you here and now. Thumb and index finger together, rolling through the shoulders. Take backs of hands together. And with that abundance in your heart, you decide to offer out beyond your heart, as far as you can reach, as wide as you can imagine, and let that abundance spill out of your palms, spilling out generously. And now contemplate for a moment what is absolutely necessary, what is absolutely needed at this moment in your life, and gather back up into your palms. Drawing that awareness back into your heart. Gently taking the thumbs together and holding on to that gift that you've listened for, that you have received, that you are holding on to. And you can allow that gift to blossom at your heart here like the lotus flower, thumbs and baby fingers together, fingers spreading wide. Or you can choose to seal it here and now. And then offering yourself a moment of respect, of kindness and love. And I generously offer those same sentiments from myself to you all. Namaste. Excuse me. Just have a little drink of water. And these things happen, of course, in live classes and in real life. Well done, everyone. Thank you all. If you feel like checking in with me, send me a text at the end of the class, and I'll try and support you beyond this at any time. And I intend, as long as I stay healthy, to support you for as much as I can. Thank you very much. Bye-bye. Namaste.